Silver Lions. Everyone will face Silver Lions in their War Thunder career at some point, so you need to be able to grind them without having to buy them with Golden Eagles, which is the worst thing that you could possibly do with GE. You need some sort of strategy to grind Silver Lions that you can always come back to and always rely on. But before we jump into battle, we need to have a look at the vehicles. First of all, your vehicle must have Favourable Matchmaking. You can say goodbye to the Magach 3, which sits at 7.7, or also the F89B, which will constantly face up tiers to 8.7 vehicles, which tend to slaughter them. The matchmaker needs to be populated to shorten the queue times, otherwise you'll be waiting 5 minutes for a single battle in your A2D1. The vehicle needs to be comfortable to fly or drive for several hours at a time. For me, the G55S is one of these, whereas something like the Heinkel 219 can be quite frustrating. It has to have a comfortable BR for you to deal with. For example, for me, it's anywhere between 2.0 and 9.0 for planes, and 2.0 and 7.3 for tanks. The vehicle has to have high rewards. It can't just be a tier 1 clubber, because that's not going to make you any money. It needs to be a tier 2 or more premium, or a tier 3 or higher regular tree vehicle. Check the rewards at the bottom of the stat card, and see if that's a suitable reward level for you. For some it is different, for some it is higher, for some it is lower, so check each and every plane. Once you've narrowed it down, pick the ones that have the highest reward rate for you. It needs to have a low repair cost. You don't want to be paying for planes using valuable Silver Lions that you might want to spend on that new jet or MBT, because you will get shot down and you will get sent back to the hangar before the game is over. I would personally avoid Tanks RB for this case, unless you're using a free-to-play lineup that is extremely cheap to repair. Tanks RB has many expenses that Air RB doesn't, but unless you're an absolute mad lad that has bought an entire lineup of premium vehicles, then I probably wouldn't be going for that. Some personal picks for me include, in the air, the Japanese Corsair, the Ju-288C, the XP-38G, the G55S, the SO8000 Narval, the P51 D10, D20, and in the regular tree the D30, and of course the Swift F7, which is in the regular tree. Some popular air premiums are the premium P47s, the BV238, the Ju-288, the G55S, any A6M2 or A6M50, the P63A in the USSR tree, any IL2, and the A2D1. However, I would avoid the A2D1 in Air RB because of the long queue times. If you're like many miles away and absolutely suck at flying but are an amazing tanker, you could potentially take the following: T14 Assault Tank, the T34 for Germany, the T20 which sits in the American tree, the German Churchill, the VFW, which is especially good with the Dornier 335B2 Premium. I actually have a video on that, so if you want to check that out, that'll appear in the top right hand corner of the screen. The AC4 Thunderbolt, and of course the Chinook 2. Paired with a premium plane, some of these in a lineup can be extremely lucrative, but unless you have that extra money for another plane, then I probably wouldn't go to the ground. Of course, you don't have to be using a premium vehicle. You can, but it does make Silver Lion grinding a lot easier if you do. So, to quickly recap before we move on to the next topic, you need to have a plane with a favourable matchmaker, meaning few up tiers, many down tiers, and it should be capable in an up tier. It has to have a short queue time to maximise efficiency. It has to be comfortable and relaxing to play, something that you're going to enjoy for a long period of time, something that you can come back to if you need it. It needs to have a high reward rate and a low repair cost. Premium time is very good. It definitely helps out the grind a lot, but it is not necessary to earn a decent number of Silver Lions. However, I would still buy it, especially when it is 50% off. It's normally 50% off about twice or 3 times a year, and you'll find that out through the War Thunder news sites, on their Facebook, and on their Twitter, which is extremely handy for you. Boosters, however, can be quite stressful. Try not to think about potentially losing a booster, because you'll tend to overthink, and that'll end up leading to the battle going sour very quickly. You should be focusing on the battles. That is the main part that you have to get through. That's where you earn your Silver Lions. The booster, forget about it. Try not to think about it, and trust me, it will do you wonders. In order to obtain boosters, there are several ways that you can freely obtain a booster. First of all is the daily logins and the war bond shop, which you can get readily boosters quite easy by purchasing them with war bonds. When you reach the second or third tier, you'll be able to buy a box, which will give you boosters of up to 900%, although they only last for a single battle. Another way to freely obtain boosters is through War Thunder's TSS tournaments. You can get free boosters for participating, and you don't even have to do particularly well. It's an easy and free way to obtain multiple boosters, and I don't see why you wouldn't want to use it. You can also get boosters from daily PvE events, and any battle trophy that you might obtain during a battle. I wouldn't advise to buy boosters with GE, since that money is better spent somewhere else. Each booster lasts a specific number of matches, but for every 30 minutes, that counts as an extra battle, so keep this in mind for larger boosters that only last for 1 or 2 battles. Now that we have our vehicle boosters ready, we have to choose a game mode. Another YouTuber called How to Play 1337 made a video saying that AB is slightly better for Silver Lion game. He used some calculations and it is an extremely good video. I would highly recommend that you watch it, and I'll leave it in the description below. However, if you're like me and can only stomach playing arcade for an hour before needing to get up and have a break, then I would recommend that you play RB instead. If not, then have a picture of Mike Goes Boom's face as a little prize. Congratulations. If you're playing a bomber, I would not fly in Sim EC, since the rewards for bombing is halved until you return safely to the airfield, where you will be finally rewarded the full amount. Personally, I wouldn't bother with naval or PvE events for Silver Lions because the effort to reward ratio is extremely low, and Heli EC as well is also not worth it because it is simply at the moment too full of KA-50s to even bother starting with. Before you go into a battle, you have to make sure that you also take care of yourself too. Remember that you're a person and you have your limitations. Make sure that you're in a well-lit and well-ventilated room with plenty of water and enough to remain hydrated. Also make sure that you're not hungry or tired and that you can get up from your seat at least once every hour to circulate blood and oxygen. This will help assist with avoiding frustration, which can all be too common in the land of War Thunder. If you have to go outside, wash the dishes, take out the rubbish, walk the dog, or any IRL task that will help break the grind up, this will make things a lot more psychologically manageable for you. Now, on to the battle. During the battle itself, there are a few things that you need to take into consideration. Ideally, the situation is that you win every single game, because that will give you the highest rate of Silver Lions. However, this isn't really possible, and in some situations, you can't win. It might be better to save the time in landing, repairing, and leaving the match. Only, however, do this if you are the last remaining team member and you are confident that trying to win is an absolute waste of time. Sometimes it is better to stick through and try and win the match because you might actually come through. However, if you are 100% confident that this is a waste of time, I would leave it at your discretion to land, repair, and bail out of the match. Never, ever, ever climb to space and hide. This is simply time that is better spent dying, restarting, and going into another match to earn more Silver Lions. It is simply a waste of time. Do not take bombs and rockets in your fighter planes, unless of course you plan to hunt bombers with the rockets. Very cheeky indeed. These will only slow you down and hamper your performance, which you would otherwise need to take on fighters. If you are flying a ground attacker, stay away from the center of combat at first if you can, before going on fighter hunting. This will get you a good reward and will be extremely enjoyable. Play your planes properly. Don't commit to head-ons, don't seagull after one plane. Chances are you might not get that kill anyway, and it will put you at a massive disadvantage. If an opponent climbs to space, you need to make use of that time. There's no point chasing after them because that will lower your activity. What you should do is return back to base with your clean wings and swap it out for ordnance. You can do this by landing on the airfield, repairing, and then J'ing out, then going back to the screen to add your ordnance or ground target belts. Beware that this counts as an actual spawn in Tanks RB and will actually cost you spawn points, so this is more specifically a tactic for Air RB. Once you have ordnance, I would strongly recommend that you target pillboxes and tanks until the new targets spawn at the 40-minute mark. Strafe these targets as well, since they'll help you get a ticket advantage, which will most likely win you the game. For ground battles, it can help to not use the most expensive shells, although it makes little difference until top tier, which is extremely bad for Silver Lion grinding anyway, and I wouldn't even recommend going there. Capturing points is also an extremely lucrative way of making Silver Lions, especially if you have to defeat enemy tanks to take it from them. Avoid multiple spawns in vehicles in ground RB, as that can result in extremely high repair costs, especially if you're being spawn camped. If you have trouble getting kills, getting assists, scouting, and even baiting can generate a decent income. This is due to two stats: battle time and battle activity. There have been matches where I have played, and I have gotten almost 50% of my Silver Lion gain from battle time and battle activity alone. Participating in the battle is probably the single best way to passively earn Silver Lions. I would avoid sitting at the back of the map, and I would avoid playing passively exactly for this reason. So, to sum it all up before we go into the last bits, win as much as you can. Know when to leave a battle that is well and truly lost. Be active in your battles, play smart, and work with your team. This will ensure that you have good games and lots of them. In summary, there is no single best way to generate large amount of Silver Lions. It is essentially down to personal preference and time grinding. Play something you enjoy, play it a lot, play it well, and take care of your physical and mental health. Using this method, I have rarely had Silver Lion issues despite playing vehicles with a high repair cost, playing vehicles that don't do well, playing at top tier, playing at low tier, and having to grind through most of the air and ground trees that I currently possess in War Thunder. I hope this video leaves you better informed to deal with the grind. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll catch you next time.